Hello everyone, my name is Dalton Burdett.
I'm Ryan Warner.
And we are the Movie Nights. Well, some of them. And we have decided to switch up the type of show and podcast we're going to do, but I'm going to let Mr. Warner explain that. It was his brilliant idea. I really like it, and we're going to do the show like this from now on. Ryan, please explain how the show's going to work.
Yeah, so kind of similar to how we originally started, just kind of shooting the shit about movies, because you're a movie fan, I'm a movie fan, so naturally, we talk about movies.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to take a little bit of a break from just doing the regular like movie news and stuff like that, and just kind of wanted to like pick your brain about movies. So last week I actually brought up the idea, and what we're going to do is we're going to pick 3 movies each. We're going to do like a pre-1990 movie that we really like, something that really stuck with us. It can be more of an underground film or a popular movie, just something that really stuck with you. Then we're going to do a movie from the last 15 years, which is 2004 was 15 years ago. So that kind of gives you a range on that. And then in the past 5 years, a movie came out. So again, one movie pre-90, one movie in the last 15 years, and then one movie in the last 5 years. So yeah, I'll go ahead and just get started.
And also, really quick before we start, another thing we wanted to do is we want you to have the same vibe that we have when we do this show. So nothing better than talking about movies than with some movie snacks. I got me some Sour Patch Kids.
Swedish Fish, because that's the only fucking way to go.
Let's talk about movies the way we'd watch them, with these delicious beverages and snacks, homie.
Oh shit! We're popping this shit right now.
Let's go.
Oh, also real quick, because I'm gonna call your ass out on this to see if it happens or not. I don't blame you if it doesn't. But if you just fucking zoom in on that pen right there, bam!
Probably won't.
I know. It says Movie Nights, so this is for us. So I have.
They are not
Nights
for
pen.
sale. Please don't ask for one.
Absolutely not.
All 6 of you.
Yeah,
don't. Please
right.
don't.
I have one, just know that. So yeah, my first movie.
And we're starting with pre-90, right?
Yeah, pre-90. Actually, let me get the year, because I don't want to fuck up the year. But it's a very if you haven't seen this movie, I will genuinely be surprised. Okay, 1976, the first Rocky movie.
A movie that is very near and dear to my heart. No, the
it's not up. Oh, no.
Yeah, studio's a little different from the last time they've seen it.
Yeah, shit. Well, yeah, so 1976, the original Rocky movie, before they fucking got goofy and campy.
Hey, Rocky IV is the greatest movie of all time. Do not talk shit about Rocky IV.
Rocky ended the Cold War, I'll say it. But I genuinely love this movie.
Oh, me too.
You'll see the movies as I like tell you which ones they are. All have a common theme. So you'll see it, and I'll kind of explain it a little bit later. Because I don't want to give it away just now.
Please tell me your next movie's Rambo.
Right, Sylvester Stallone. Yeah, right. And then the last 5 years is Rambo fucking Last Blood.
3.
Oh, God. Jesus Christ. But, yeah, so Rocky, it is more than just a boxing movie. That's just at the surface level. So if you just want to turn on a movie, turn off your brain, Rocky's really good because it's just a boxing movie. But, more
it's
to
not,
it.
Though.
No, it's way more than that.
Yeah.
It is a love story.
Thank God.
Probably.
I've been saying this for years. Thank you, sir. Rocky is a love story, and it's one of the best love stories ever made.
Absolutely. He doesn't win the fight, does he? He just outlasts him.
Spoilers. By the way, we're gonna spoil the shit out of everything.
Oh yeah, so fucking. Hopefully you guys have seen this, seen these movies. But yeah, so
and even when they announce the winner of the fight, it's really quick. It's no big deal, because the big deal at the end is he wants to get.
With Adrian,
yeah. That's the whole point, is he's just looking in the crowd, the famous
Adrian. And he's all beaten to shit. I'm looking at the picture now.
His
and he's
eyes
just
are closed, you can't fucking see,
Yeah, and people are kind of because the story of Rocky is that he trains to.
I'm really sorry. It's fucking hot. I'm turning on the fan.
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead. I'm just gonna keep talking. So the story of Rocky, in case you haven't seen it or it's been a while since you've seen it, basically Rocky, he just goes through training. And he is selected to fight Apollo Creed. I can't remember if it's kind of it's just a beat up match basically. Rocky's to be the dummy.
Basically, he's a nothing fighter.
Yeah.
And Apollo Creed wants to fight somebody, but he wants to put on a show because he his image, his persona is all about the American man.
Yeah.
So he wants to go to Philadelphia, which is the heart of America, where the Declaration was signed.
Yeah.
And he sees in the paper that Rocky's nickname is the Italian Stallion.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, holy shit. Apollo Creed versus the Italian Stallion? You know how, what the good press is going to be, giving some no-name bum a shot at the belt? That's good press for everyone. Set this match up.
Yeah,
and
so
that's how the whole thing...
So Rocky's a no one, so, like, naturally, whenever this fight gets announced, everyone's like, oh, Apollo's going to whoop him in, like, the first few rounds, like, he's not going to stand a chance. And you find out, like, Rocky has his whole, like, famous montage, and... Yeah. Climbs the steps, like, he does all this training.
You ever jog to that?
Oh, absolutely.
Unbelievable. Actually,
or even, like, the new Creed soundtrack, like, Runnin'. Oh, fucking great.
So good.
But yeah, like, Rocky just outlasts all the rounds. I mean, Apollo Creed ends up winning, but, like, he lasts way longer than anyone thought. And then that's when you said, like, they announce Apollo Creed's the winner. He keeps the belt, blah, blah, blah.
But he goes the distance. He goes every round.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he doesn't win by knockout or anything like that. I think he wins... I don't know how boxing works, but, like, he landed more punches
decision.
or what.
Unanimous, like, however the judging goes.
Yeah, whatever.
And back then it was 15 rounds. Like, it was a long-ass fight.
Absolutely. And, like, fuck you, dude.
Fucking asshole.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. But it's just so fascinating that at the end, like, this boxing movie, it's like, oh, the winner's Apollo Creed. But over here, it's like, Adrian, like, I need to find her because everyone's, like, cheering on Rocky, like, wow, like, you actually fucking did it. And he doesn't care about all that. He wants to be reunited with Adrian. And I absolutely love that.
And the thing is, throughout the whole course of the movie, he is a very simple-minded person. And the movie does a great job of just showing that, like, he's kind of not all there. Like, he's very dumb. Like, he collects money for loan sharks. Like, he goes and collects the money.
Like, he's like the beef guy.
Yeah.
Or whatever. The muscle.
And the reason he loves Adrian, and now, the actress Tylee Sher, however you pronounce her name, she's a beautiful person in real life, but they ugly her up for the movie. But the reason he's so attracted to her is because she's so smart. And he's just fascinated by that. And one of my favorite scenes in the movie is they go ice skating together. And they're talking, and Rocky says to her, you know, the reason I fight is because my dad told me that I don't have much of a brain, so I better start using my body. And then Adrian says, funny enough, my father told me I don't have much of a body, so I better start using my brain. And it's just them, like, then that's how they connect. And, like, the whole movie, like, they're so in love.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk about my favorite part of the movie in just a minute.
Okay.
But go ahead and just talk more about their dynamic, their relationship, and just how... Oh, also, another thing, Rocky has pets throughout his entire apartment. And early in the movie, you see, like, he has these turtles, he gets this dog, and you're like, why does he have all these pets? Adrian works at a pet store.
So he just...
And he's nervous to talk to her, so he just goes in and buys a bunch of fucking animals.
Yeah.
And when you realize that, you're like, oh my god.
Like, this
it's
movie is
adorable.
so much deeper than what you'd think.
Yeah. It's really not about boxing at all.
No, it's just a guy who's nervous to talk to this girl. Like you said, he goes to where she works and buys all these pets. And that's how he talks to her. And then eventually, like, he asks her out and, like... And it's funny, too, because, like you said, that Rocky said that his dad told him he doesn't have much of a brain, so, like, he has to use his body. And, like, well, Adrian doesn't like watching him get beat up. Like, she supports him because, like, that's what he likes doing. Or, like, something that he's good at. And, I mean, it kind of plays further and further, like, as the movies go on. Which movie did she die in? Was it 3?
She died
4?
off screen between 5 and 6.
5 and 6, right. But yeah, no, I love that he's like just a regular guy who's just nervous to talk to a girl.
And my favorite scene in the entire movie.
Okay, like other than the Adrian or like above that.
Like above that, like my favorite scene in the entire movie. I have 2, but I might not do the other one, but I'll do one for sure.
Okay.
I love this movie. I'm sorry.
You're good.
Rocky goes to the arena the night before the fight. And just stands in the empty ring. He's looking around, and only the promoter's in there. I forget why the promoter's in there. The guy who set up the whole fight, put it all together.
Yeah.
And Rocky is looking up at the banners. There's one of Apollo, one of him. They're painted banners. They're huge. And Rocky's shorts, I forget which one it is, if it's red with a white stripe or white with a red stripe, but they flipped it in the poster. I think in the poster, he's white with a red stripe. And he goes, hey, to the promoter, he goes, that's not the color of my trunks. My trunks are... the other way around. You guys got that wrong. And the promoter goes, don't worry about it, Rock. It's okay. You're going to put on a great show tomorrow. And the whole movie, it's established that Rocky's not a smart person. That he's very simple-minded and that he really, really wishes he was a smarter guy. Well, he goes home to Adrian and he realizes, without any help, he sits down and he just says, I'm not going to win this fight tomorrow. And she's like, well, no, what do you mean? He goes, no. I just realized that I was not booked to win this fight. I was booked to put on a show. It doesn't matter what I do, I'm not going to win this fight tomorrow. And then he goes, but you know what? I have to go all 15 rounds. He's like, I have to go the distance. He goes, if I do that, then people will know that I'm for real, and they'll know that I'm a boxer. But if I don't do that, it's not worth it. So that's my only goal tomorrow, is to go all 15 rounds. I have to go the distance.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite part of the movie, because that's his only focus the whole time, because he keeps telling Mickey, he's like, if you stop this fight, I'll kill you. He's like, I have to go the whole time.
And I love that dynamic, too, with, like, him and Mick.
Yeah.
Such a good, like a father-son. That's, like, the closest thing to a father-son in that movie that you'll get.
And also, Rocky has such a pure heart in that movie. Like, you see throughout, like, he sings with homeless people, he does all this, because his brain is so simple that he's just this nice man. And there's a scene where he keeps trying to train with Mickey. Mickey doesn't want anything to do with him, but then suddenly he gets this title shot. So Mickey then goes up and is like, hey, let me train you. And then Rocky loses his shit on him, yells at him, like, where were you when I didn't have anything? You didn't want anything to do with me? Yells at Mickey, like, terrifies this old man, and he leaves. And it's this beautiful shot of a wide of Mickey going down Rocky's steps and walking down the street. And then Rocky quickly sprints out and goes and gives him a hug and apologizes and says, I'm sorry, I didn't you can train me. And it's just like, God, Rocky, your heart. Just like, it's such a good character piece. It's such a great love story.
Yeah.
And thank you for bringing it up, because it's one of my favorite movies ever. It's one of the movies that made me want to make movies. So, yeah,
it's a great movie. It's probably one of the best love stories of all time.
I agree.
Like,
I adore this.
It's one of the best love stories without being a full romantic movie.
Yeah, without being like an on the page love story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what about you? Like, what's your pre-90 movie?
My pre-1990 movie? I'm gonna go with Psycho.
Okay. Interesting choice.
Came out in 1960. Alfred Hitchcock famously directed it, starring Anthony Perkins as Norman Bates, one of my favorite performances of all time. Janet Leigh, who famously dies like 15 minutes into the movie, even though she was one of the biggest stars on the planet. Jamie Lee Curtis's mother in real life. I love this movie for a plethora of reasons. One of the reasons I love it is because, yes, it's one of the most iconic films of all time, and it's shot and directed very well. The dialogue still holds up. And that's what makes it scary. Like, there's a scene where, before you know anything about, Norman, before you know anything about the situation, they're just eating dinner together, and it is so awkward, just how they're speaking to each other. The scene where Norman is talking to Janet Leigh's character, Marion Crane. They're talking to each other, and Norman Bates is just like saying all these weird, strange things. And like, normally from a movie like that, the dialogue is what will usually not age well. Like, it'll be like, Skippy, how's it going? It's nothing like that. It's just
very
him,
modern.
Yeah, and it's him, like, his hobby's taxidermy. And he's sitting there talking about how he's like, yeah, actually, it's really fun to stuff things. The only thing it costs is for the formaldehyde and the acid, but other than that, it's really fun. It's a really good time. And she's just kind of like so uneasy, like, just like, what's this guy's deal? And it's such a strange, like, career field that it's strange enough to be like, okay, something's strange about this guy, but he could also be like completely normal. Yeah. But or not, it's not a career field, it's more of a hobby. Yeah.
But like, that just adds to the uneasy, awkward feeling, because like, obviously it seems like he doesn't have any friends. He just doesn't get along well. So like, he just does taxidermy as a hobby and like kills, or not necessarily that he kills these things, but like, he just stuffs them. And like, it adds another creepiness factor to it, which is really well done. Oh,
the conversation starts because he makes lunch for her, and he's watching her eat, and he goes, "You eat like a bird," and she's like, "What? I'm sorry," and he goes, "Sorry, they say that birds don't eat much, and you just, you eat like a bird, like one of those stuffed birds," and it's just like, what the fuck's going on with this guy, man? And like that's still creepy, and like, the infamous shower scene and how, the censorship at the time, like, you can't show knife going into flesh, you can't do this, can't do that, so he did the multiple edit, like, and it's still pretty like in your face, like, edit, but like not...
Each cut is like a knife.
Yeah, and it's not hidden in a way to hide bad choreography. It's just designed in a way to really mess you up psychologically.
Absolutely.
Especially with that horrifying score. Like, it's terrifying. I love the opening score and like the opening credits. It's like the dun, 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 dun. Like, it's such a good score. And not just that, but the fact that it sits... And this is now like almost a horror trope. It's the horror trope I love. It's setting up a main character just to kill them, and then you suddenly have to search through the movie of like, who am I supposed to be? Like, who am I supposed to attach myself to now? And it does a great job of transitioning it from Marion Crane to Marion Crane's sister and Marion Crane's lover. Like, just very naturally does that. And, not only that, but Anthony Perkins, I'll say it again, one of my favorite performances of all time. He is so goddamn good in this movie, especially when you don't know the ending to the film, and you almost feel bad for him that he's being bullied and beaten and like has to cover up murders for his mother, and you're like, God.
And his like mother's controlling of him, and like all this shit, And what's really funny too is like, I can't remember which documentary I was watching. It might have been the one like about the shower scene. I think it's called like 7862 or something like that. It's like a number of cuts or whatever. But what's really fascinating is the reason why, or like I guess one of the reasons why he casted fucking Anthony Perkins in this role is because he was seen as like kind of like a clean cut guy in like all his roles. So Alfred Hitchcock wanted to cast him in this as like a more fucked up role because it like completely changed audience's perspective on him because throughout the whole movie, if you don't know the twist, like obviously at the time no one knew the twist, so you're watching it and you're like really connecting with him, like you said, like wow, his mother really abuses him, controls him, like forces him to like cover up the murders and like all this shit, and you're just really feeling for him, and then you find out later like no, he's fucked up.
And I love it. Has one of my favorite movie endings of all time.
Absolutely, it's perfect.
When he's just sitting there in the inner monologue, he's like, I'm not even going to swat that fly, because they'll look in here and be like, oh, Norma, she can't even harm a fly.
But it's not even him talking, it's his mother, which makes it even more creepy. And it's phenomenal the way they do it, because it would be completely different if it was Anthony Perkins' voice, but the fact that they're able to do the mother for the inner monologue, because it really like drives home that he does have this double identity personality, and that he truly does believe that like he's his mother, or like whatever it is that he like that he encompasses, and it's fucking creepy.
Not only that, but like it's one of those things where this movie was also one of the first, because like Alfred Hitchcock was always pushing the boundaries of censorship, and they always got on his ass throughout his era of filmmaking, and this was one of the first movies to put humor in horrific scenarios. Like a really funny bit in the movie that works. Like I've watched this movie with a couple audiences before, and this humor bit, like people laugh when he kills Marion Crane, and then he takes her car and puts it into the lake, and he pushes it in, and it starts sinking, and then it stops halfway through, and then he goes like, oh shit, and then it starts to sink again. But like for that moment, like people like, that's really funny. And it was like one of like, it's an early movie of like having like from the perspective of the antagonist like making a joke like that. And I thought that was really interesting. I don't know if you know this, also the first movie to show a toilet flushing. Just because.
the edit with that though, because is it the shower drain that cuts into her eye, or like that transitions into her eye?
Drain,
like it's everything about that movie is fascinating, the way he used transitions and cuts.
Hershey syrup is the blood, because it's black and white.
It's fascinating. And the fact that this movie came out, like, a lot of people associate this movie like, oh, it came out like during the black and white phase. No, like, colored movies were a huge thing for like 10, 15 years now at this point, 1960. So
Alfred Hitchcock noticed a trend of people getting together and going to watch B movies. And a lot of the B movies were black and white. And so he really wanted to just be like, I want to make a movie that like all the audience wants to go see. And he had to fight through a lot. He had to like mortgage his house. He had to do a lot of shit to get this movie made, and one of the best movies ever made, in my opinion. And we are not even talking about the influence that this would have on slashers later.
Absolutely. This spawned slasher cinema.
Like Halloween is considered like the first slasher because slashers happened in that era of Halloween. But John Carpenter and many reviewers of Halloween pointed out like this is like a direct like inspiration from Psycho, which was 18 years before Halloween. So this movie, and there are some movies before that one day we'll talk about that inspired like slasher movies, but this movie's hugely credited with the American slasher being as popular as it was because it established like the early roots. This is like the roots of slasher beginning, and I think that the reason for this is just because of how you know you're in the killer's POV, which happened in Peeping Tom earlier, British movie that's actually pretty good. But you see the killer's POV, you know, you go through this great story with Alfred Hitchcock. There's a twist at the end, and the fact that it could lay those roots for a whole entire dominant genre later down the road is pretty awesome.
And this came out like later in his repertoire. Like he's made
this
like
one of his
masterpieces.
He was a established filmmaker when he made this movie.
Which makes it even more fascinating. Phenomenal movie.
So what is your 15 years ago movie?
We talked about this maybe twice, definitely once. So I'm really...
I genuinely don't know what he's about to say, by the way.
So like before we recorded this, I told him Rocky, and then I told him my 5-year movie, which I'll tell you guys whenever it happens. But this movie, I had not talked to him about it at all. So these are going to be his like raw thoughts on this movie. Actually, let me just make sure you've seen this.
I'm very curious.
It's not on Letterboxd. You haven't seen it, apparently, according to Letterboxd.
I might have seen it. We'll see.
Yeah. Came out in 2004, directed by Michael Gondry. He's directed like nothing. But Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
I haven't seen this movie. And I've heard that it's fantastic. I've never seen this movie.
You haven't seen it?
I'm on trial. Shit. I'm on filmmaking trial right now. I've never seen this movie.
Okay. So I've seen this movie a few times.
This is the Jim Carrey one, right?
Jim Carrey, Kate Winslet. It's a big cast for like no reason. But it's probably Jim Carrey's best performance that I have ever seen. Like, even in his comedy roles, like he's good in those. This movie trumps all of that. Like, this movie is phenomenal.
Really quick, have you seen The Truman Show?
I have not.
Okay. Because I've never seen... You need to watch Truman Show. I need to watch Eternal, so that way we can be like, all right, what is Jim Carrey's best? Because I think his best is in The Truman Show. But
was he nominated for anything for that movie?
I don't know. I don't know for sure. But I love him in Truman Show.
So, Eternal. Do you know like the story of it?
Something about he was in a relationship and he's deciding if he should get her erased from his mind. Something like that.
Okay.
Like it's about. From what I understand, it's about him making that choice. Is he going to make that choice?
Okay.
Or is she going to make that choice? It's one of those.
Yeah. So, like an overview of the movie, like I did for Rocky, because
I know we're spoiling the other movies. Don't spoil this movie.
Don't spoil it.
No.
Okay.
Because fuck them if they've never seen it. I'm sitting right here. Don't tell me.
Absolutely. So, like I said, I don't really remember a lot from this movie, but enough that it really stuck with me, and the fact that I wanted to pick this to talk about it. So, like you, I've talked about this movie with a lot of other people who haven't seen it. It's a movie that I feel deserves more love because it is such a smart movie in the way that it's crafted, the way that the story is told, and just everything about it on a technical level is brilliant. So basically the story of this movie, or the plot of this movie, or fucking, what am I saying? Yeah.
The main story of
the movie. God, I'm just excited to talk about this movie. Basically, Kate Winslet, Clementine, and Jim Carrey are in a relationship. Okay. Something bad happens in their relationship. I can't remember if they tell it or show it or whatever, but something bad happens in their relationship. And it's kind of a sci-fi, like alternate reality. Like, they have futuristic stuff in the real world. Okay. So like you said, people are able to get others erased from their memory, whether it's a family member, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife. Like, you pay money to go to see a special doctor, and you go in this contraption and just erases memories of people. And I won't spoil it, but something happens to the girlfriend. And Jim Carrey, like, you're following Jim Carrey. It's really, the story's told from his perspective. So you're following him, and the whole time, because he does get his memory erased from her, but like halfway through the movie, he realizes that he doesn't want to go through it anymore. But he is just deep in this procedure, and it's just like him wanting to get her erased, and then he's like, you know what? I had genuinely happy moments with her. I don't want to erase her from my memory. And it is so, like, I'm getting chills talking about it. Like, I love this movie because it's so relatable, because you're like,
I've had shit relationships.
Yeah, like, everyone has had shit relationships. But if you think back on those shit relationships, like, everyone has had genuinely happy I shouldn't say everyone, but at least, like, the people I've talked to, they've had, like, genuine happy moments in their bad relationships. And the fact that you're able to relate to it on that level is astounding. And it's so well crafted.
It sounds like because this is a very relatable thing. It sounds like it's kind of, and again, I haven't seen it, so I'm just asking. Yeah. It basically, you're deciding you had so many years of nothing but happiness, but then one bad thing happened, and you're deciding, was that thing bad enough that none of the good stuff mattered?
That's basically how it goes.
Oh, man, that's fucking deep.
It is so deep, and it's so good. And I was actually looking at it, and it won Best Screenplay.
Oh, nice.
Like, it's a smart, well-crafted movie. and it is so ridiculously good. And like you said, like the whole relationship, they have fun, they're goofy together, and what's really, because it shows you how she's being erased. So like the whole movie, like it starts off with him contemplating if he wants to do this. He decides to do it for a specific reason that you'll have to find out by watching the movie. And then it's all like flashbacks of them being happy. And then she just disappears. And then he ends up being happy, but he can't remember why he's happy because she's not there. And it is so sad. But I can't remember too much about the ending, but I highly recommend this movie because you also can't tell what's reality and what's not.
Yeah, it sounds like someone went into your memories and erased the part when I asked you not to spoil the movie.
It's in the fucking summary.
I know.
But
I'm enjoying the conversation, and I will still watch it, don't worry.
And I'm leaving out a big point of the movie that like I haven't spoiled. So Aliens? Like but no, like this movie is phenomenal, and like I said, I kind of spoiled a little bit, but like
that's okay.
It's the point of the movie.
It came out in 2004. It's fucking my fault. I haven't watched it.
But like I said, like there's a major part of it that I left out that you'll have to watch for yourself to see like why he wants to do this. But what about you?
I'm on my last 2 Sour Patch Kids, and now I'm pissed off at myself.
Ah, shit. You want some fucking Swedish Fish?
No, it's okay. It's all you, homie.
All right, so last 15 years, what's your pick?
So, 2004, like, only, or like 2004 to a certain year?
2004 to present, like in the last 15 years. I mean, try to stick away from like past 5 years because we have its own category for that. But
so
if a movie
15 to 5.
Sure.
Okay. No, I have a 2004 movie.
Okay.
Spider-Man 2. I fucking love Spider-Man 2, and that came out in 2004.
All right,
let's
interesting.
Fucking talk about Spider-Man 2.
Let's do it.
First of all, it's directed by our Lord and Savior Sam Raimi.
God damn right it is.
And this came really... The comic book movie genre just had its boom with X-Men and Spider-Man. And the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie came out, wasn't so good. X2 had come out, which was considered at that point like, oh my god, this might be the best comic book movie ever made. Excuse me. And I personally think that Spider-Man 2 is even better than X2. And you know how much I love X2.
Oh yeah.
And Spider-Man 2, it improves upon the first movie in that, the origin's out of the way. You've already had a movie with this character, and it's just about just living and what's the natural next step for Spider-Man, played by Tobey Maguire.
Mm-hmm.
Played brilliantly by Tobey Maguire, I will add.
Yeah.
But fuck you. But anyway, I think what I really liked about this film is not only, the creation of Dr. Octopus as the villain, in terms of just how... Because I love when you get to see the villain's origin in a movie.
Oh, yeah.
And just how they become who they are and their motivations, their desires, which they do a wonderful job with, but also continuing plots from the first movie of, like, Harry Osborn's hatred towards Spider-Man, but doesn't know that it's his best friend. And, the fact that Spider-Man is losing his powers. And he's just like, I can't do this anymore. And it's very metaphorical in a lot of ways to just people moving on to their lives and can I still do the thing I wanted to do. It's like, it's a deep movie. And it also has Sam Raimi-isms, like that whole montage of raindrops keep falling on my head.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking love that.
All the goofy parts about the movie that you don't like is Sam Raimi.
Oh, you mean the goofy parts that you like? Because I love...
Spider-Man 3.
Spider-Man 3, listen, not a very good film. Peter Parker dancing is the best fucking part of that movie. I don't give a shit.
If you know anything about Sam Raimi, that is the only
scene
he had influence on.
That is the most Sam Raimi ever. And I loved it. I don't like that movie for other reasons, but not the dancing. The dancing was great.
I will say, quick side note about Spider-Man 3. I hated that part until me and you talked about it, and then I realized, like, yeah, that is Sam Raimi, like, through and through, that whole scene. But back to Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2, a scene that I particularly love in this film is when Doc Ock attacks the doctors that are working on him. Because it was basically Sam Raimi being like, I miss Evil Dead. Let's do it with Dr. Octopus.
Absolutely.
The way that whole scene is shot, and like the guy even pulls up like a mini chainsaw, tries to cut it off. And it's a horrifying scene. Yeah. And it's so good. And something else that I really love about this film is just how well choreographed the action scenes are. Yeah. Like, because you mix CGI and practical effects. And for 2004, that was kind of like, is that even going to work? And it still looks great. I have them on 4K. They're awesome. But Also, you have the emotional beats, like the train sequence when they take Peter Parker, his mask comes off, and they lay him down, and they're like, "Oh my God, he's just a kid," even though we see 45-year-old Tobey
Maguire, yeah.
But that's just still such a powerful moment, and like, there's like, we're not going to tell anybody, don't worry about it. And all the New Yorkers get in the way of like, you want him, you got to get through me, and like, it's cheeky and it's nice, but it's so heartwarming and it's great. And the emotions are there. I miss when Spider-Man would like look, he got the shit beat out of him, and he was just still ready to go. Mm-hmm. There's a lot to love about that movie, and what are some things that you like about it?
Well, real quick, because we were talking about action, and you talked about the train scene, and I know we've talked about it, but what's your favorite action scene from that movie? Because no one talks about it.
Oh, it's when Doc Ock and him are fighting up the clock tower, and he's got Aunt May, and he's about to he's got her hostage, and just that whole fight.
Like the vertical fight.
Yeah, and the fight right before the train scene when they're fighting vertically, like that shit was so well done. And
the fact that he's like, because Doc Ock will like throw, like take bricks off, and like he'll web it down back at him, and like falling and fighting.
And there's one where they're falling and fighting, and Doc Ock grabs the wall and like yanks himself back up, and then Spider-Man has to fight back up, and just like
for its time, that CG is fucking great.
And it still looks good. The only thing that doesn't look good is Doc Ock's face.
Yeah,
that's the only thing that doesn't hold up. Everything about the CGI though, the rest of it holds up.
Yeah,
and it's a really well done movie. What are particular moments and things that you liked in the film?
I really, really like the train scene. Obviously, the fight scenes were really good. Yeah. But more so for the emotional impact at the end, whenever like all the New Yorkers get together and like, oh my God, like this is a kid, and if you want to get to Spider-Man, you have to go through us, and they all like line up, and love all of that. But a scene I really, really like more than that is at the end, whenever the whole thing's like sinking, and Doc Ock just turns and he's like, I'll help you. Like, I have to destroy this thing that made me a monster.
Yeah.
And like...
Yeah, his last words are, I won't die a monster.
Yeah. Like, I love that.
And there's something we're not talking about, and that's J.K. Simmons. And how...
Who reprised his role?
Oh, God. That was so awesome in Far From Home. But when J.K. Simmons... That's where the famous meme comes from. When Peter Parker's like, can you pay me in advance? And he goes... And like that famous meme of JK. It's such a good...
Is that when he tries on the spider suit?
That's a deleted scene.
Yes. Fuck.
Yes,
okay.
Yes. And they also name drop Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
For no reason. And then that
just
was
casually.
Funny. And I love all the comic book world building that Sam Raimi does. Just as a comic book fan, like Dr. Kirk Connors, and he's missing the arm, and just how he's in the movie. You're like, oh my God, that guy eventually becomes the Lizard, and like just all that kind of... and like Man Wolf. Like J. Jonah Jameson's son, the astronaut, is in the movie, and you're like, oh shit, that could be a thing. If only they didn't fucking cancel Spider-Man 4, which I may or may not be salty about, even though it led to some Tom Holland and great Spider-Man shit. I miss Sam Raimi.
We'll never get a Spider-Man 3. Or Spider-Man 4, I mean.
I know.
It's very sad, but the concept art's really fucking cool. But basically, like Spider-Man 2, though, like, probably, like, I hate putting comic book movies in their own genre, because like they're more than just comic book movies. They're genuine
Wait, is that
movies.
the ice cream truck?
Hell yeah, it is.
We're doing after this.
Fucking right.
But anyway,
it's just like a solid action movie.
Yeah,
that's very heartfelt driven. Like you said, the metaphor of like him battling if he wants to be Spider-Man, if he can't even be Spider-Man anymore, and it's great.
Yeah, and I also love the last shot of the film, because it's actually kind of sad and dark. Because Mary Jane leaves her wedding, because something that was great about the first film was Spider-Man saying, like, I can't be with you, because he knows if he does, like, she's going to get killed. Yeah. And she runs away from the wedding. She knows he's Spider-Man. She goes, I don't care. I want to be with you. And they, like, make out for a little bit there. And I remember as a kid just being like, ugh. But, like, they're making out on the screen. And then he hears the sirens, and she goes, go get him, Tiger. And then he webs off, and the camera slowly zooms in on her face, and she just kind of... almost like I made a mistake.
Yeah.
And like, and that's the end of the movie, and you're like, and as a kid, I didn't give a shit. But like, when I watched it now, like recently, and when I rewatch it, I'm like, oh my God. And that leads like to a plot in the third one of them like not doing so well. I was like, oh my God, that shot was really good. I was like, I never really noticed that before.
That's a great like director's choice.
Yeah, it reminds me of The Graduate a little bit.
It reminds you of what?
The Graduate.
Haven't seen it.
Oh my God. Well,
I think it's on Netflix.
Next time I'm gonna bring that one up. But yeah, no. Yeah, so that's my 15 years ago movie.
Are you trying to seduce me, Mrs. Robinson? Or like whatever the fuck he says.
Of course you know that part. Everyone knows that part. But yeah, so what is your recent released film?
We talked about this earlier. We talk about it all the time. La La Land.
Fucking, I love this movie so much, and I'm so glad we're talking about it.
I haven't seen Moonlight, but
the actual Best Picture winner?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it either. I've heard it's amazing, and I loved If Beale Street Could Talk.
Yeah.
That was a great film.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But La La Land. So, like, the theme of my movies has to deal with, like, love, regret, kind of like what you could have done better. Obviously, Rocky, like, is just a straight-up love story, but, like, Eternal in this movie, like, dabbles into, like, the love story, regret, kind of what you could have done better.
Yeah.
But it's a great, great movie. The musical, I'm not a big person on musicals. I give 2 exceptions to this: La La Land, if you want to consider it a musical, and Singin' in the Rain. Those 2 movies I fucking
What about Rocket
love.
Man?
Okay. Yes. Okay. I don't like. Okay.
Because that gotcha.
Fuck. So Rocket Man, Bohemian Rhapsody, those are like musical movies, but they have to do with a biopic of a musical person. But like just straight up musicals, or people are singing and dancing. Like fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm not about that. It's stupid, in my opinion.
Okay.
But I love this movie. And in the first 5 minutes, it's nothing but world building, where they're just stuck in traffic. The musical note happens, they all get out, dance, and then go back like nothing happened. I absolutely love that.
And just the color scheme, and just the cinematography, and how beautiful looking the film is.
So good.
And Ryan Gosling.
Emma Stone.
Ryan Gosling.
Damien Chazelle.
Oh my god, Damien Chazelle, yes.
Now, I will say, I am not fond of jazz, which is a theme he does in his movies.
Like every single film he's made.
But this movie turned me on to jazz. Like, I genuinely enjoy jazz now because of this movie. And the fact that this movie sticks with me not only on a movie level, but a musical level as well. Like I said, getting me into jazz and like broadening my horizon of music is really fascinating, that this movie can have so much impact on me. And the first time I watched it was with you at the apartment. And it was something stupid at like 2 or 3 in the morning is when we like started it.
Yeah.
So like we were up all night. And I remember the second the film ended, we just flicked on the light and just had a deep conversation. Like we just went right into like our feelings because of how this movie made us feel. And you've seen it several times before then, and it still had the same impact.
Still fucks me up.
Yeah. But like my favorite part of the movie, absolute favorite part of the movie, is the end.
Great. It's
the whole like whenever they get off the highway. When Emma Stone and her husband
and
get
they're
off
cutting
the
it together,
highway.
and you're like, fucking, they're about to do this. Yeah.
They're walking down. They walk into Seb's, which she realizes like, I designed that. It can't be.
He changed the name.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm gonna talk about all this in a minute. But fucking go ahead.
Like she just walks in and you look at her face and you're like, no. Like what are the fucking chances? Goes in. She's like, okay, I kind of see like everything that was in his apartment, the chair, like all this shit. And it's like, fuck. And then he comes out on stage and he's just like kind of talking to the audience. And then they lock eyes.
Oh,
and it's
I'm
like,
getting chills.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then he just sits down and then just stares at the piano and then plays the theme.
Dude, when I tell you tears the first time I watched that movie, oh my God.
Yeah.
And just, there are so many moments in that movie that make me cry. But like, and that song, because like early on in that movie, when he first plays that song, he plays it with such a passionate thing. And it's a sad moment because he plays the hell out of it, then he stands up and no one gives a shit.
Yep.
And I love
and then
that
he gets
scene.
fired. And then...
Yeah, but Emma Stone really liked it, and that's how they connected. And when he plays that song, such a good moment. Then you see the what could have been, and then it cuts right back.
Oh, dude, you cannot make a better scene in any movie. Like that scene is absolutely perfect. And because before I'd seen the movie, because this came out in 2016, and I just watched it for the first time in 2018.
Yeah.
So it's been a solid 2 years, and I still didn't really know much about it other than the fact that like I know she doesn't end up with Ryan Gosling. Yeah. Like that's the twist, but like I knew that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't know to what level that it was at. Yeah. And when I was watching it, I was like, this is phenomenal. Like, I don't know why people have problems with this movie. Yeah. Like, I get, like, their chemistry is really, really good.
It became cool to hate. which happens to one Oscar movie every year.
Yeah.
It happened to that, and then it happened to A Star Is Born.
Mm-hmm.
But like that was 2 years later. But like every year it happens to a movie.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, continue.
Yeah, and it's a shame that like people hated that part of the movie because that is what makes the movie.
Oh yeah. Oh fuck.
That is what drives that movie home is the fact that she doesn't end up with him because he wanted to be in a band because it's something she supported, and then she realized how successful he was being and he wasn't being home, and then they ended up breaking up. Like, you don't see that, but like they aren't together, and then she marries someone else. That whole scene of just what could have been where they don't say a single word. It's all visual
music and dancing and yeah.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
And the thing is, and I'll go into like why I really love one of the main thing I love about this film, but it becomes clear because I've probably seen this movie like 20 fucking times. Like I love this movie,
and it still has the same impact, right?
Oh yeah.
Good.
But you pick up on stuff you don't notice before.
I love that.
And at the end, when because they kind of like salute to each other, like, you know, goodbye.
Oh yes.
But like you can tell, her goodbye was like, oh, nice to see you again, and his goodbye is like, I'm still not okay. And just like when you like, because they're different goodbyes, and you can see it in their faces. And one of my favorite aspects about this movie is the fact that, okay, I think that her character, purposely by design, is a little stuck up. The reason I think so is because Ryan Gosling always wanted to own that club. It's all he ever wanted. But then he realizes as he falls in love with her that all he wants to do is be with her. And he decides that. And he never says it, but he decides, you know what? If it means I get to be with her, I don't have to have this club. And it's never said, but he decides that when she's on the phone with her parents and they ask about his job, and he overhears, like, oh, he's working on it. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And then when he gets the opportunity to play music that he sort of doesn't like at first, and, you know, it seems like he was selling out, but he did it because he loved her and he wanted to be able to like support and be with her.
Yeah.
And so his motivation switches halfway through the movie, and not many, to me, that's how I read it. I don't know, there's some people read it differently, and they're not wrong either. But how I read it is his motivation switches halfway through the movie, that he just wants to be with her. And her motivation never changes. She wants to be a big actress. And so she gets upset when he sells out because she's like, look, you wanted to make this club. Don't do that. Don't quit on your dream. And what he's trying to tell her, he's like, I'm doing this for you. Like, I want to be with you. And she, you know, does the one-person show, and he fucks up by not going.
Absolutely.
He really fucked up by not going, and which is what ultimately leads to their breakup. But he knows how bad she wants this. So she thinks that he's selling out, but really he just wants to be with her. And, you know, the whole movie, his motivation changes, and that's how I interpret it, is that he changes his motivation.
Yeah.
And, you know, he realizes that, oh, she still wants to achieve her dreams. So even after they break up, he still makes sure that she's able to get to that audition.
Yeah.
And he knows they're not going to be together after that, but he's like, I kind of took that away from you, and I'm sorry. So he does it just to, you know, make sure that she can still live her dream and be able to do that. But it's just so heartbreaking, especially when she did love him, but she didn't love him enough
to stop what she was doing.
To sacrifice it. She didn't sacrifice anything for him. And the thing is, you can't fault her.
Yeah.
But you just feel bad and that's really just a heartbreaking reality of most relationships, is one person ends up sacrificing what they want to do. And even then, he wanted to call it like chicken on a stick, or that's what he wanted to call the club, and he did change it to what she wanted. And you almost feel like he did that so that one day she would notice it.
Yeah. And
it's really a bunch of subtle, sad shit that goes on in that film.
Yeah, and kind of my last thoughts on the movie. Their chemistry was phenomenal. Like, whenever she finds him in the springtime playing the cover band, and she requests, I think it's Iran.
Yeah.
By a flock of seagulls, and he's like, really? That's what you're going to do for request for a professional musician? And she's like, oh, really? Yeah. Like, I love their chemistry.
Their banter's great.
Yeah. And like you said, like, the last look that they give each other, it's different, but you can tell that they truly love each other. Yeah. And like, that love is still there.
They both say, I'm never going to stop loving you.
Yep. Like,
oh, God.
It's great. I need to watch that movie again.
You want to watch it after this? Let's pop it in, dude.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. But last 5 years for you.
I'm going to do another 2016 Ryan Gosling movie.
Okay.
We're going to do The Nice Guys, directed by Shane Black, starring Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling.
Okay.
What?
No, I genuinely love this movie.
So do I.
But no one's seen it.
It's fucking, yeah, that's the problem. It's fucking phenomenal. No one's watched it. But holy shit, is this movie good. It's hilarious, first of all. It is really fucking funny. It's also really good just screenwriting. Like, the script is very tight, very strong. And even the action bits are very well choreographed, very well done. Honestly, this might be my favorite Ryan Gosling performance. I fucking love him in this movie. Over Drive, over La La Land.
Okay.
I love him.
Interesting.
In The Nice Guys. He's so funny. And Angourie Rice, who plays his daughter, also did a great job.
She is so fucking funny in that movie.
She is. Matt Bomer shows up towards the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, you forgot he was in that.
Yeah.
Dude, it's such a good movie. And just like the whole like 1970s or 60s Hollywood.
Aesthetic.
And just, you know, like with the adult film era and all that. It was just, it's such a well done movie. Some of my favorite movie jokes ever. Like, I love when Russell Crowe's going to break Ryan Gosling's arm and he's like, no. It's so funny. And just, it actually, but the character bits, it gets really emotional. And it actually, like, takes these characters on a journey and they take turns you don't really expect them to take.
Yeah.
And I genuinely loved this film. It was really underseen and it should have gotten Oscar nominations, but it didn't. But just what
would you want to nominate it for? Just
at
curious.
Least screenplay.
Okay.
At least.
Yeah.
And
what's your favorite part about the movie then? Like, if you had to pick one moment.
One moment. Because it's both a character moment and because it's a callback to a previous joke all in one scene.
Okay.
The previous joke is earlier in the movie, Ryan Gosling, he's a real down on his luck asshole. And he looks at something written on his hand that clearly got written there when he was drunk, and it says, "You will never be happy," with a smiley face. And he's like, fuck, when he sees it. And then later in the movie, he's fighting the bad guy, and he beats the bad guy, and then he goes to grab something, and he notices that the never has been erased, and it just says, "You will be happy," and he goes, ah! And I fucking love that moment. And I also love... just jokes I love is when he keeps going through shit, like he keeps falling through story buildings, he keeps doing this, and he gets up fine, and then he falls through like a 3-story building onto a car, and then goes to Russell Crowe, and he goes, "Dude, I don't think I can die. I think I'm immortal."
Who wrote that movie?
Shane Black.
Okay, he wrote and directed
Yes.
it? Okay.
Dude, it's so good. That script is so tight.
Yeah.
And Russell Crowe's good. He put on a lot of weight for it, and it's like, I love the random cutaway when they're like, "How's your relationships going?" And it's just him at dinner, and the girl goes, "I'm fucking your dad," and he like spits out his drink. It's such a good movie.
The jokes in that fucking movie are so good.
When they throw the dead body over the gate and it lands on a dinner table.
And then they just like fucking run away because they realize what they did.
Yeah.
I will say my favorite part about the movie is just a story element that they do that like kind of mimics Psycho in a way.
Okay.
It's the only other example I could think of right now because we just talked about it. But they're looking for a girl through the whole movie, right? They're hired to
huge spoilers for this movie, by the way.
Yeah, huge.
By the way, I think wasn't that girl a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
I think she's one of the Manson girls.
Yeah, like the one that Brad Pitt keeps following. Yeah. Great actress.
Yeah. But the whole movie, like, they're hired to look for this girl. Or Ryan Gosling is, and then Russell Crowe's like...
gets involved,
Yeah. They kill the girl.
Like 3/4 of the way through the movie.
They kill her.
Not Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe.
No,
but the people looking for her, they get her.
Yeah, like they actually like... Because she has something, or like a secret or something, or she saw something that she wasn't supposed to. And like the people looking for her kill her. And I love when movies do that. Like I said, it's similar to Psycho because they killed Janet Leigh, even though she was like the biggest actress at the time. And like it's just a story element that I genuinely like because I like movies when villains achieve their goal.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I'm going to talk about just some of the jokes that coming back to me.
Yeah.
And at the very end, even though like we said spoilers are fine, I'm not going to give away who the main antagonist turns out to be. But at the very end, they're sitting in the same room with the main antagonist, and the main antagonist is about to go on trial. And throughout the movie, Ryan Gosling makes references to, like, if you're mean, he just calls you Hitler. And then she's sitting there, and she gives this monologue and goes, "What do you think about that?" And Ryan Gosling goes, and he, like, does German stuff.
Yeah.
She goes, "What?" And Russell Crowe goes, "I think what he's saying is you remind him of Adolf Hitler." And, okay, and I ripped off a joke in this movie in The Long Hard Day. I say ripped off. I paid homage. I fucking ripped it off. And it's... Throughout the movie, Ryan Gosling reads this newspaper. And throughout the newspaper, it just says, like, killer bees are infesting the world. And later in the movie, he's talking to someone at the bar, and the bartender's like, have you heard about these killer bees? Dude, it's crazy. And, like, it randomly gets brought up through the movie. In the last scene, him and Russell Crowe are at a bar, and he's just sitting there. and a bee goes on the table, and he just goes, fuck! Like, just tries to kill it really quickly. I laughed so hard when I saw that in the theater with my dad. It was so funny.
Yeah.
But yeah. And another character bit that I really like is Russell Crowe, how he never really opens up to anyone throughout the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the one time he finally opens up to Ryan Gosling about the diner incident.
Yeah, because they just kind of talk about it.
Yeah, and he tells him the whole story, and then halfway through and then when he finishes the story, he looks over and Ryan Gosling is sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And he realizes, he's like, he wasn't even fucking listening to me. And then he kind of like nods, and he has that look in his face like, this is why I don't tell people about me, because they never listen. And it's like just a really sad moment. And, you know, and also, the good guys, we already mentioned that the bad guys kind of achieved their goal. The good guys really don't win. Do you remember how it ends?
No.
They put the bad guy on trial, and the person, they walk.
Oh, shit.
And it ends,
okay,
it ends with them getting drunk, like, well, they got away, but I guess we can just keep trying this out. There was rumors that they were going to do a TV show, a sequel, but the movie didn't make enough money. Do you know, I would kill for a Nice Guys TV show with those two coming back. Oh my god, I would pay any amount of money.
And their dynamic is fucking great.
They just work so well together.
Which is, you wouldn't picture, like, if you were just to tell me Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe in a movie together, I'd be like, that's strange. But it works.
Oh, so well. It's such a well done movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's gory too. It's violent. Like it's everything.
They don't hold anything back.
Yeah, it's got a bit of everything. No, I genuinely love that film. Watch The Nice Guys. If you have not seen The Nice Guys, please watch it. It is so good. I love that film.
Phenomenal movie.
It was actually in 2016, because like I do a video of like my favorite movies of the year every year, and I was gonna shoot it that night with Nice Guys as my number one movie, and then that night I also went to go see La La Land.
Wow, what a fucking great double feature.
Do you know how good La La Land was, where I was like, it's number one. Like I literally took my number 10, bumped it off, and then put La La Land like number one. Because usually when I see a movie the same day, I take a few days, like, did I really like it? Like La La Land, I was like, this is the best movie that I've seen. But yeah, no, I love The Nice Guys. Like it was going to be my number one movie until I saw La La Land.
Yeah.
But I love The Nice Guys so much.
It's really funny. And they're, like I said, their dynamic works. The jokes, every single fucking joke lands. It's so
and the performances are just so good. Like when they get like really dramatic and serious, it's really sad. And
it's like a fun buddy cop movie.
Yeah. And it has Keith David. We need more Keith David. We love Keith David.
He's great.
Oh yeah. But yeah, no, that's my recent 5 years ago movie for you.
Yeah.
So there we go. So go through your three really quick. Just say what they were, then I'll go through mine.
Yeah. So it was the original Rocky. Rocky, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, La La Land.
Mine was Psycho, Spider-Man 2, and The Nice Guys. God, what a fucking collection of movies right there.
Yeah, right?
That's a triple feature I'd love to do.
Absolutely.
Hell yes. Oh yeah, but thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it. We're glad that we're back doing videos again. But this is going to be the setup of the podcast from now on, changing the dynamic a bit. Thank you, Mr. Warner, for the suggestion.
Actually, if you'd like, I can actually bring up next week's topic while I'm thinking about it so we don't forget.
Let's go.
Yeah, so earlier we were talking about how Psycho kind of spawned slasher movies. Let's just talk about slasher movies next week.
Let's do it. I took a whole class on it. I have notes.
Oh, slasher cinema, yeah.
I have my favorite class I ever took. But I have notes.
But I genuinely love like horror movies and slasher movies and like the 80s, like the 70s, 80s, like the height.
So we can talk about how every Friday the 13th movie is bad.
Some of them.
No, all of them. They all suck.
Yeah.
And we'll argue about that next week.
We will. But so next week we'll just talk about slasher cinema and
another movie review will be coming this Friday, but I don't know what I'm going to watch yet.
Yeah.
But another movie review will come this Friday.
Yeah, we have a few movies, a few videos lined up this week. So as the days go on, I guess just check out the channel, see what we're doing, because I know I have a few videos lined up. Dalton said he has a few videos lined up, so it'll be fun to kind of get back into the swing of things now that we're kind of like, I don't want to say organized, but like more organized than what we were before.
Yes, but we're not organized.
We're trying. We're trying. A for effort.
Like you're saying, we were at the point where we were finally going to get organized. And then we moved. Yeah. It just fucked everything up.
Yeah, so now we have to kind of get back into the swing of things. But I'd say we're better off than where we were before.
Oh, yeah. But we're finally getting back into the groove. But
so it'd be nice to like pump out videos again. But today was fun. Can't wait for next week to talk about slasher cinema.
Yep. And where can they find us online, Ryan?
Yeah, so online. On Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I will say we are most active on Facebook, so that's going to be the best place to find out what we're doing.
Movie nights.
Yep, movie
Facebook.
nights. It's always fucking reversed, but I think it's nights_movie for Twitter and Instagram. So movie nights for Facebook, and like I said, Twitter and Instagram, it's nights_movie. So without further ado, arrivederci.
I hate that you just did that.
It's what Brad Pitt says in Inglourious Basterds.
I know.
Fuck it. Arrivederci. That's my favorite Brad Pitt performance.
Christ. Oh my god. Goodbye, everybody. I'm going to kick his ass really quick.